Hello, everybody.
Hello.
So as you can see, there's a new person here.
Yes, there is.
Uh, as Carol Burnett once said, Devon, get the tables. This is this is
Am,
eighth.
am I Devon?
This you're my Devon
Yeah.
tonight. This is the Ain't This the Fun podcast, and please like, subscribe, hit the bell so you're notified when everything goes live. Also, if you're listening on iTunes, hit subscribe there, like, rate, maybe leave a comment. All that stuff helps. Thank you. So how are you?
Doing well.
Good to see
Doing
you.
well. So what is this? Good to see you. Is it what? So is this episode
Episode 4.
four? Episode 4.
4
Life.
Life.
Right. Yeah. So
That's what I should have
one week-
named it. It's the one with the new guest. I should have put 4 Life.
That's right.
Missed opportunity.
There you go. Yeah. So I make my debut in episode 4.
Yes.
Yes.
I couldn't think of anything better. I had said something on the first podcast how I remember you and I sitting up in my old office at my old house, and it was probably 99. Am I off?
Nah,
2000?
nah.
2001?
Yeah, probably. Yeah. You're probably right. Yeah,
It's
probably,
been
probably
about
2000.
20 years.
Yeah.
And we sat there, we cobbled together some mics. Like, I don't even know how we recorded it. I think, was it a computer? I don't even remember.
It was it was just headsets with my microphones on headsets.
Right?
Yeah.
Into a laptop or
No, it was I think we were connected to your computer in
Maybe.
in your office.
oh my god, that old computer.
Yeah.
But yeah, you got me listening at that point to comic panelologists at work. Or
Yeah.
panelologists at work.
Yeah.
And it was like the first podcast. I was like, this is kind of cool. And you and I were like, we should do this. And then we didn't. And
Right.
now 20 years later, everybody and their mother has a podcast. So I figured,
Yeah.
why not join late?
Right. We could have been one of the first. Now we're one of the last.
That's right. My dog has a podcast already.
Right.
I figured I might as well get one.
Mhm.
So we've known each other since I was figuring that out before you jumped on. 96,
Yeah.
summer of 96, we met at college.
Yeah.
So it'll be, since this year's what, 22. We're looking at 26 years.
Yeah.
Isn't that
Known
crazy?
each other for a long time. Right. Yeah.
Many fun days.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. Actually, that was funny. I was talking to a friend of ours, Adam, and that's his request was all he wants is old stories about all the stuff we've done.
He's like, if you go on there, you need to talk about all the crazy stuff.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
Yeah.
you got to talk about old stories. Yeah, I'm like, well, I don't know if that's gonna happen, but
I still to this day, I told Mrs. Fun, probably years ago at this point, the story of the letter
oh gosh, the letter, yeah,
from typography class.
yes,
The 3 of us
Yeah.
got the entire. It was a small college, but we ended up having the
I forgot about
dean
the letter.
generate a letter saying that people needed to shut up in class.
Yeah,
Because we were having too much fun.
yeah, and we made an instructor cry.
See, now I don't remember that part.
I think that was, geez, how did that even? It was the same. It was the same. I believe it was the same. It was
Typography?
Yeah. No. Then that must have been something else. That must have because there was like a figure. So we have multiple. Yeah.
I don't remember
multiple
making
classes.
anybody cry.
We were screwing off,
Yes.
and
That we were doing. It was fun though.
Yeah. So but the letter where we actually there was a document by the school that was put out saying, "Hey, straighten up."
We all knew it was the 4 of us. They just
Yeah.
didn't put our names in it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I try to do the right thing and do good. Sometimes
Yes.
I can't.
Yeah.
The week leading up to this has been a little crazy. You can't, the basement's still a nightmare. But I had tore apart our master bath, ripped everything down to the studs, and I pulled the tub out. There's a little sort of built-in wooden bench thing on the side that was tiled. It was part of the tiled wall. Tore all that out. So I did everything down to the studs, and tore all the subfloor out and everything. And basically, I'm going to remodel it and make it a big giant walk-in.
Okay.
So no more tub. And
Okay.
so it'll now be like 72 inches wide by about 60 inches deep. Have a rain head about 10 feet up.
Nice.
And stuff. The only way we could afford it is if I started doing it myself, because we don't have a lot of money later on.
Oh, yeah.
The only thing I don't mess with is plumbing.
Okay, yeah, sure.
I don't want to have anything to do with water, because all I fear is this basement flooding. And so we finally had enough money to have the plumber come out. So it was 2 days last week, and then last weekend leading into the middle of this week came out, redid all the pipes and stuff. So it's been a little crazy with that going on here, but
yeah, I took a hand at plumbing one day, and it went okay. Yeah, I did. I
Good.
did, the way I this was years ago, but we redid our kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
In our old townhouse, and we talked about it, but then I never mentioned that I was actually going to do it. So she came home, and it was all torn apart, like the demo was happening, and she's like, "Oh," I'm like, "Look what I did." Yeah, and so I actually I tried to do it. I successfully did it, because then years later, an actual plumber came out because we were having a leak. And he came down and he looked at it, and he was actually like, this is not awful for an amateur. Yeah,
it's not crap. Oh, thank you.
It's not terrible. I'm like,
hey,
that's a victory.
Hey, anything better than flooding?
Right.
You did it right.
Yeah.
No giant rain showers from your sink or your tub or your whatever toilet.
Yeah.
You won. That's a point for you.
Yeah.
So I know you've listened to at least one.
Yeah.
So someone in chat goes, I want to hear more about you making a teacher cry. I really don't remember making a teacher cry. Are you sure that was us?
It was. I don't know if it was you.
No.
So I don't know if it was you, but it was
that group.
It was
you
that,
and
it was
T
for sure
and
that,
M?
Yeah, it was for sure. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I can't imagine M doing it.
It was definitely me, and it was definitely Travis, and it was definitely I don't want to say I want, and there were a couple other people that were on the side, and they were like viewing from the sideline.
Okay.
And didn't
Yes, this I do not remember. I remember us having talking and doing our work, but talking so much in typography that teacher was like, "You guys gotta stop." And then it was like 2 days later, the letter came out like, "Stop having fun."
Yeah,
I'm like, oh, okay, this will be great until we're done.
Right, because what I remember with the instructor, like it didn't, like we felt bad. I mean, like when we heard that, we felt awful. I mean, she wasn't crying in class, but it was a situation where like some of the students were also like working in like the labs and stuff, right? And word kind of got out because they were also employees, and so kind of word came out that like there was a conversation that happened outside of school, and the teacher was just like, I don't have control over this group at all.
And let's be clear, because again, I don't remember making anybody cry. So if you're telling this story, I know the type of people you're talking about, including you, obviously. It's not like you were like berating her or calling her names or beating the hell out of her.
Let's be clear about
it was just we were being rowdy, like just rowdy.
Right. Yeah. We're just goofing off and it was this was like a drawing. This was like a drawing class.
Yeah. Then it wasn't though.
Yeah. This was a drawing class, and it was just we were like looking back, we were idiots, right?
It's the time to be idiots.
With a lot of the stuff that you do
until you hurt someone's feelings and they cry. But you, on top of that typography, we ruined it for everybody.
Yeah, right. Well, yeah.
There will be no more fun in this building while you're here.
Right.
No more fun.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. Right. Exactly. And then they closed down the building, and
well, yeah. Now it doesn't even exist anymore.
We could frame it as that happened like 2 weeks after the letter.
Technically, both buildings don't exist. I mean, the buildings exist, but technically, both the buildings we were in are gone.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
I think they're actually out of business.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. That piece of paper means a whole lot of nothing at this point.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I know you've listened to at least one of these.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay. And so, the premise is I keep saying 18 months, but at this point it's basically almost 24 months. 24 months of a crap hole of a situation. And I was just trying to find something to so I could focus on the positive. Try to find things that make us happy or give us something that we're interested in or that we'd like to tell somebody about. And 3 things, and then at the end, maybe something to look forward to that we're looking forward to. So traditionally, Childress has always gone first. So do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
I could go first.
Go for it.
Now let me. Okay, so you said positive. So now.
Well, I mean, obviously you wouldn't put on there like I had the worst day ever. I crashed.
No.
Right,
like
it's supposed to be something fun, or that you're interested in, or that you might think other people might get some joy or fun, or be interested in. A positive thing.
So well, here's what I'm getting at. So like let's say it was something I was going to enjoy, and I ended up not enjoying it.
Oh, okay.
I shouldn't. That's harsh.
Do you think other people would enjoy it?
What's that?
Do you think other people would enjoy it?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Sure. So this is harsh, but dude, it's either way. Like, are you? I don't want to hear. I think I know. We talked about a subject we were going to talk about. Oh. Okay. Anyway, so I don't want to take
Royal
one
Rumble?
of your things. The Royal Rumble, yes. And I was gonna say, you want to keep? Do we want to keep it positive, or do we want to talk about the Royal Rumble?
I forgot to just talk about that as a general subject.
Yeah.
I was going to talk about that before we even got into this, but it works because it turns out it's one of your things. Well, is there anything you can find in it that was fun or positive?
No. Okay, so here, like, if actual wrestling fans see this, and like you see and hear this. Here's where I could get called to task. I watched only the 2 Rumble matches. I didn't watch the entire deal.
Okay.
So it's not that I didn't enjoy it. Like I said, that's harsh. It just at the end of it, I was just like, all right, Brock won again. Cool.
I had thought that Brock winning the male one was like, is that the first time someone has wrestled earlier in the night and then they throw him in the Rumble at some point? And then I was literally watching it's the one where Rock and Austin, it's like Austin's first like Stone Cold one where him and The Rock are both in it. Yeah. And someone had wrestled. Who won the Intercontinental Championship? Someone had just won it earlier that night.
Okay.
And then was like number 19 or something.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I guess people have wrestled earlier in the night, but it just so happens I saw that yesterday.
Because I think last year Becky Lynch did that in the Women's Rumble. Yeah, she was a replacement for someone that got hurt or something like that.
Something where she runs out and she's like, "Put me in."
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah. But so it was just the Rumble is always like, and here's the thing, like I watch 2 shows a year now. You watch the Rumble and I watch Mania, and so I'm not. We both were Mr. WWE, and I don't think either of us are now. So the Rumble is the perfect show for the lapsed fan because you get to see everybody. Yeah. And like I was seeing like, but it's seriously like, watching the Rumble, it's like, one of my favorites tropes, and that I only really think was used once in a movie. It was Planet Terror. Okay, right. The Robert Rodriguez Planet Terror.
Part
Where's
of
the the
yeah, death.
Grindhouse.
Yes.
Yeah. So in that movie, one of my all time favorites, one of my all time favorite scenes is that the movie's one way, and then it says scene missing, and then they go back, and it's complete chaos.
Okay.
Right, and that's how that's how I felt watching the Rumble. It was like there were characters that I knew that were completely different from the last time I saw them, and I do, I keep like I said, I don't watch on a weekly basis. But I do read headlines and I keep up like on online and whatnot. But so it was just strange going through seeing people like Corbin come out, and he's a completely different he's happy Corbin where he used to be King Corbin.
He's like
And
a pub hooligan guy or something now, right? Like he has like a bowler cap and like a suspenders or something. Wasn't he King Corbin or something?
Yeah, he was. Yeah. And then I think the other one was Big E, was a completely different character from when last time I saw him.
Part of New Day.
From the New Day. Yeah, right. And like when I heard he won, and I actually watched the clip of him winning the title, I was like, okay, this is neat. I could get into this. And then seeing him in the Rumble, I was like, whoa. And I was actually texting my brother-in-law, and he's like, yeah, the Corbin thing's awful. And the Big E thing's not great either. But going to the positive, and I guess the women's Rumble set me up for a little bit of disappointments, because out of nowhere in the women's Rumble, Mickie James shows up, and Mickie James is the Impact World Champion, and she's got the title and she's got the graphic on the screen. So that's like I think that's the out of the whole thing, that's the most important thing that happened, because like I am a big fan of AEW, and they're doing this thing called the Forbidden Door, where basically anybody really, except for guys from the WWE, are just coming in and having one-off matches or one-off feuds.
That's smart.
They come in, yeah. So people from like New Japan come in, and people from Impact come in, and it's a lot of fun. And so I saw Mickie James come in, like, whoa, wait, okay, are they going to try to do the same thing? So I was hoping for somebody to see somebody in the men's Rumble like Mickie, and that never happened. And I was like, okay.
In a similar, I thought that was the first time they had done that. So WWE obviously used to be WWF for the people who don't like wrestling or whatever, or have never been into it. There's all these other companies that still do it, even though everyone knows WWE or F. TNA or old school NWA is still kind of part of that, right? Does Billy, what's his name? Corgan still owns them from Smashing Pumpkins.
I think so.
And then AEW is a whole nother company and all this stuff. And when I saw her come out with the belt and it says TNA Impact Champion on there, I was like, oh, that's kind of neat. Coincidentally, while I'm watching that first Rumble where Stone Cold is Stone Cold and not just guy in black trunks, and The Rock, not Rocky Maivia. So I can't remember what number that was. I want to say it was like 11, Rumble 11 or 12 or something. Yeah. Jeff Jarrett comes out with the TNA title, and he comes out as the TNA or NWA. NWA champion at the time, and it has the call card on the bottom, and it says NWA champion, and he walks out with the belt, and I was like, well, I guess they've done that before too. Yeah. So, but and then they've done it. It's been a while, and but like it seems like anyway, there's a lot of animosity between AEW. There's a lot of between AEW and WWE, because they're like seriously competing now. Yeah.
And so to see someone, so I was hoping to see someone from somewhere else, come into the men's Rumble.
Orange Cassidy would have been funny.
Yeah, right.
That would have been pretty funny.
The last thing we did before everything went haywire with the pandemic was that AEW was Revolution.
And that was the first time I think you and I had been at a wrestling show together since New York.
No. We went.
Live.
We went and saw. No. We went and saw. We went and saw TNA at the Sears Center, and like we saw.
Yes,
Hogan was there.
You're right.
And Corrigan was in the crowd, like in the section.
He was like right kitty corner.
Yeah, right to the section to the left of us. He was right there watching the whole thing. Yeah,
that's right. I totally forgot about that.
Yep.
How hilarious.
Was in TNA. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you heard the last week's, but I was telling Childress that was one of the things that was my looking forward to. I had said, I don't know, it was maybe summer last year was when I realized that Peacock had gotten WWE as part of their package now. They basically bought all the digital rights. And so it's like, I kind of want to watch the new Star Trek show. I kind of want to see this thing, kind of want to see that. I said, maybe I'll get it for a couple months. And then it turned out to be a Sunday. And so I looked, I'm like, oh, there's a pay-per-view. Yeah. So if I sign up today for $1, I get the pay-per-view tonight, which I haven't seen a pay-per-view at that point in like 4 years or 5 years. And then all month I can watch all the WWE stuff I had missed since WWE went digital for whatever it was, 8 years or something.
And here you are 6 months later and you still have it.
Yeah. Now, like a dummy, I still pay for it.
not like a dummy. No, it's the amount of stuff they have, it's crazy.
I'm a big fan of the Stone Cold what are they called? Stone Cold Sessions or whatever, where it's just him interviewing people, and they get people on there and they tell real stories about, being on the road and being poor and eating cheese and doing 3-4 guys a room because they have no money or they're sleeping in their cars, and how sucky it was back in the day, now that they have contracts and they're bussed and planed everywhere. It's not the same as it used to be. Those stories are always pretty good. But so you didn't like anything with the Rumble?
No.
Of what you saw?
It's hard. But usually I'm like, when I turn it off, I'm like, that was awesome, and I just didn't feel that this time around. It was just kind of meh, very very expected. McIntyre and Lesnar at the end. Yeah, it's okay.
What about Rousey? That wasn't a surprise to you?
Well, no, that was a surprise. That was a surprise, but I think it's not a surprise. Like she comes in at 28.
It was towards the end.
Yeah, and then she wins.
Of course.
And I was like, okay, that's not exactly a surprise, but her being there was a surprise. But like the things I enjoyed, like it's funny, showing my age. The thing that got me that got the most reaction out of me was Ivory coming out with the right to censor.
Yeah, I did the same thing. I was like, what?
And she starts berating all the women in there, and I was so into that. I'm like, yes, and then she gets eliminated right away, which I'm like, all right, cool. But
and the funny part about that is wasn't she a Glow wrestler back in the day, and then she also was WWE. Like she's even the people that were in there that were seasoned, like Michelle McCool and all those people who had done it like for 10 years, 15 years and all this, those kinds of people. What's your face? Ivory's been doing it for like 35 years.
Yeah. Still
looked like she could jump in there and like she looked fit, like she could go toe to toe and do the stunts and stuff with everybody else. And it was sad. They just basically let her yell. Someone slaps her, tosses her over the room. That was it. Right. I'm like, oh, come on, let her do something. The one person who could actually probably show up all the other people there was her.
Yeah, and I also liked seeing Rey Mysterio still doing his thing at a high level, and he was getting his first knee surgeries like when he was on Nitro still, and now he's now it's 20 years later, and he's still taking guys over the head scissors and whatnot. He's flipping around like a madman in there. I'm like, that's awesome.
He's got to be older than me. I'm pushing 50. He's got to be in his mid 50s to close to 60 years old. I can't imagine him being younger than me.
Not because it was shocking to me. It was really shocking to me through listening to podcasts. When he debuted with WCW, he was like 21 or 22. So like and before that he was in ECW. So he was like 19 when he was in ECW. Yeah. When like in 96.
Really?
Yeah. Before he went over to to WCW, and that's worth checking out on the network. Him and Psychosis.
Yes.
They put together some matches there where it's the lucha style,
Yeah.
but they're also smacking each other in the head with chairs and stuff. And it's they put on some good stuff. They had, I think it's a series like 3 or 4 matches. It's really, really good.
I want to say it was one of the pay-per-views I watched, like a Halloween Havoc or something. Again, with this, Peacock, digital stuff. Like, there's everything. They even have old school Saturday Night. I was telling children, like, it's old Saturday Night main events and all this stuff, from 42 years ago. But I pulled up, like, a Halloween Havoc. I was trying to look for one of the ones I had gone to. And I'm like, I wonder if I'm in the crowd somewhere. And, but anyway, I pulled one up. And I want to say it's either Rey Mysterio's first or second match. And it's him and Psychosis. And it was at a pay-per-view. And they're like, this young guy, he's new or something. So I don't know if it was his first match.
Sure.
But it was very close. And then it was him and Psychosis just going crazy in there and stuff. It was fun to watch. But even then, you're talking what?
97?
Yeah, you think 97?
Yeah.
20. So he'd have been around 20 and 97? Okay.
Something like that, yeah.
So he'd be right around.
Yeah. So
93.
he might be a little bit young. Hang on, he might be a little bit younger than us. It was just kind of
that can't be right.
Hang on, let's see. Real quick here. He's my age. He's 47 years old.
I'm older than him?
Yeah.
Holy.
Yeah.
Jesus. All right. Now I'm depressed. This isn't positive. No. Well, it's positive because I'll say it's positive because it was in essence free for me.
There you go. Yeah.
I don't want to know how you watched it.
Me?
Yeah.
I'm legit, bro.
You're legit?
I'm legit.
You got the Peacock?
I do.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to out you on here. All right.
No.
So, yeah. So, yeah, it was free. It was fun. It's ridiculous. Pay-per-views are always stupid, and I mean that in the most positive way.
Yeah.
I was really hoping for more fun. Like I was telling children, I love the pop. I've always told you that. That's one of my favorite things. The music hits and boom, and the crowd goes crazy. And I was really hoping for a couple more goofy ones, like Doink or Honky Tonk Man, or they always throw like 2 or 3 kind of weird ones in there. Yeah, they beat them up for 2 seconds, throw them out. We had Knoxville, and that was kind of funny, but
that again, that's another positive for me. Like how that didn't happen. Like obviously backstage, they're like, okay, Knoxville's just like, just kill me.
Yeah.
Because and how this didn't happen well before this movie. It seems like a match, like no pun intended, but a match made in heaven.
That's a good one.
And that was super entertaining. So that's another positive. Come on, I enjoy the Knoxville stuff. But
he told the story. I think it was on Stern. He told the story of how they were there to obviously promote, and they do the thing where they're backstage and like, hey, they're pointing, and and the WWE guys like walk past him and push him or something, and that's it. And they, Jackass coming out next week, and that's it. I guess one of the head writers just walks up to him, and he's there with Tremaine, the director, or I think it was Tremaine, and he goes, hey, it'd be great. It's like a week away. Do you want to be in the Royal Rumble? Like that was it, and Knoxville's like, yes. That was it. That's all it took. Yes, I do. And they're not. I don't think they're paying him any. Like he already did the press. They he's already there doing the press that he has to. I'm assuming for the movie, because that's why he's there. He doesn't have to do this. Yeah. And yes, I do. Yes, whatever. And so that was it. Within a week, he's already there and doing the thing with the wrestler, and then he does the run in.
It's funny because like what was it? One of the guys from the Street Profits.
Mm-hmm.
He splashes them, and it just looks like the dude's never tried to jump higher and harder in his whole life. He comes off and he just wham, and it was pretty great. I thought it was pretty great.
That was a good splash.
Yeah.
He got some height.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I don't even know those guys. I think I've only seen them one other time. Because again, I watch like the pay-per-views and maybe I'll catch a clip somewhere. So I think I saw him coming out to the solo cups, throwing them in the crowd. And I was like, I don't know who these guys are. And that was it. But that dude got some air.
Yeah. Some serious hair.
That's like Guerrero
Yeah.
hair.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So,
That was good.
did you watch the other matches?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're okay.
Yeah.
I heard people are dumping on the Dewdrop. Who did she wrestle? Who is the championship?
Don't know.
That tells you how much I watch.
And that's the problem. Like I'm trashing I'm trashing one of their pay-per-views. I don't know anything.
Dewdrop, and it was kind of a smaller in height wrestler.
Who
are the biggies? Oh, Becky Lynch.
Okay, Becky Lynch. Okay, yeah.
And so, I don't know who Dewdrop is. It's this new girl. She's a bit of, there's kind of the styles of wrestling, right? Like you got your luchadors, you're kind of, your smaller, faster ones, you're kind of big, tall guys, or, sort of maybe the ones that are a little more, not super built. They're a little more round, but they're still speedy and strong and stuff. And that's sort of Dewdrop's build. She's sort of she's a little bit taller, but she's a little bit rounder. But I had heard people were dumping on the match. Okay. But man, Dewdrop can wrestle.
Yeah.
I thought she did really well. And she was keeping up with Lynch. Like and doing flips. She has this thing where she doesn't do like a handspring into the corner like what's her name used to do. But Becky Lynch was in the corner and she kind of runs, jumps headfirst forward and lands so her head, she like does a wrap. So her head comes butt over head, and then the butt hits the turnbuckle, the face of the person, and her back hits the person. So she basically does a mid-air somersault, but lands backwards into the person.
It's like a cannonball. Right,
kind of, sort of, but with her back. So her feet come up and hit the top of the turnbuckle. Her butt's in the person's face. Her back's on the person's chest, and her head's now on the ground. And she doesn't do like a handspring or anything, but just hauling ass and did a somersault in the air and landed and everything. And she was running around keeping up. And I'd never seen her before. I was like, she's pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't know who half these people were.
Yeah.
I liked it.
So, all right. So so the Rumble doesn't count as one of our three, right?
Well, if you don't want it to be, I was just going to mention it. But if you have three more.
I did. I did. I assumed it was going to be one of your three, the Rumble. No. But okay. My first one, I have recently started listening to autobiographies on Libby via my library card.
Yes. Okay.
Yes, the app. Yeah. And dude, Danny Trejo's book is unbelievable. Like it's so great. I cannot. 12 million stars.
Okay.
it's really, really good.
Does it make it even better? Does he do the audiobook?
He does. And it makes it 10 times better.
That is great.
It makes it 10 times better.
Okay, that's
good. Yeah. Just because he's not he's not like Jim Dale who does the Harry Potter books.
Sure.
Yeah, and who does every voice is a little bit different for the Harry Potter books. I mean, the guy that Jim Dale's totally, he's amazing. But like Danny Trejo doing his own stuff, having him tell the stories, dude, everything. I mean, the first quarter of the book is just about him being, because in the 60s, he spent most of the 60s in jail. And like, which is like his 20s, I believe it is, in jail. And then then from there, it's just about his redemption. And the amount of things, like the amount of things that happened to him just out of sheer, I don't want to say luck, but I guess it is like he just happens to be in the right place at the right time. It's crazy. It's really, really crazy.
And a lot of with like Rodriguez to get in the movies and stuff and all that.
Right. So for what was the
It's not
Dang,
Desperado. You talking about the one with the guitar?
No. This is even earlier. This is like
Okay.
this. I want to say it's like the 80s. He was like a boxing champion in like a prison boxing champion, right? And so, one of his friends that he made in prison after he gets out of prison ends up being a consultant on movies for things like Prison Breaks, and like are they going to be, is this going to be correct? Is this the way they would do it? That type of thing. And he also, like, coming out of jail, becomes a sponsor for people in AA. Okay, and his whole deal at this point, he's not even anywhere near acting, and he's just like, anyone that has an issue, he'll sponsor him. So he'll be like, if you're thinking about relapsing, call me, and I'll come do what I need to do. Awesome. And this actor ends up calling him, and he says, I'm about to do something I don't want to do, but I'm feeling weak. Can you come out? And he comes out, and he thinks he's going to find this guy like at his home or whatever, and it's on a movie set. And his friend happens to be working, the consultant happens to be working on the movie set, and he says, "Hey, do you?" And so he's like, "Hey, do you still box?" He's like, "No, I don't. I don't box, but I know, of course, I know all about it." And he's like, "Well, we got a guy here who's supposed to be a fighter, and he doesn't know how to fight for anything." And so, and he's like, "How would you like a job on this movie?" and he's like, yeah, how much pay? The standard questions, how much does it pay, blah blah blah. But they go through and he's like, yeah, sure, let's do it. And that kind of starts him off rolling this ball of a career that has spanned decades, that he's been in hundreds of movies. He mentions that he's the most killed actor in Hollywood.
That's great. That's great.
He's the Guinness. I think it's actually the Guinness record for the most killed actor in Hollywood. Yeah, I believe it. Yeah, I believe it's the Guinness record. Yeah, so I cannot recommend it enough. And then, like, toward the end of the book, where he's talking about, well, maybe not the end of the book, but definitely in the second half, where he's talking about stories with when he's working on Anaconda with Ice Cube, and he has stories about every big movie he's been in, and they're all pretty great. Yeah,
I'll have to get that.
Yes,
we just signed up at the local library, and I know we can rent stuff out digitally, and so I may start doing that. I have some podcasts I regularly listen to, obviously, just like you do, but yeah, books are hard. I try to read too, but yeah, like you said, the audiobooks are so nice. You're doing other things. You can throw them on if you can't, sit down and read.
Yeah.
Very cool. As a matter of fact, are you watching Book of Boba Fett?
I am.
Yeah, because he popped up as the new Rancor handler.
Yeah.
I love that. I love it.
That was the first time I've seen him since I read the book. I was like, yeah, Trejo.
So good. If I remember the story correctly, and I probably don't, but I'll have to see if I can find it. I always throw links either in the bottom of the notes if you're listening on iTunes, or if you're going to watch the video later, I throw them in the notes, and there'll be links so you can just click them and go to what we're talking about. But there's if I'm not mistaken, Selma Hayek is the one who told the story. She told it on the Graham Norton show, where she explained that she ends up on a movie set or whatever. She meets Danny Trejo, and he's like, "Oh, I got to show you something. I hope I'm telling the story right, but I'll have to find the video." But he pulls his shirt off, and he's got this giant tattoo of either a naked or semi-naked tattoo of Selma Hayek on his chest. And he's like, "I wanted to show you this tattoo. I got it. I think it help me get through prison or something like that." And she's like, "Okay." But now they're super good friends and everything. But I want to say I have that story correct. If I don't, I apologize. But I'll find that clip and I'll throw it in there. It's either it's of a girl in general, or he thought of Selma Hayek when he got the tattoo. But I want to say the two are connected. It was pretty funny. But again, I think I have that right. But.
And I didn't mention it, but the book's just called Trejo.
That's
Yeah,
it.
if you want the action, if you just want the title, yeah, it's like a life of it's something about his trail of redemption, but the main title is just his last name.
Okay.
Yeah.
And coincidentally, a lot of coincidence. If you listen to these podcasts, something happens, and then Childress has been bringing stuff. I'm like, that just happened today. I was literally playing Far Cry 6 earlier today for a little bit, and there's a mission. It says go to. You're like in a fake South American country. And it says go to the alligator rehab center or whatever. So that, it's like a park you take kids to, but it's been overrun. And you get there. There's a guy there. He needs to talk to you. He needs help. And you go there. It's Danny Trejo. It's Danny Trejo, and he's decked up in like a Hawaiian style shirt. I think it's a Hawaiian style shirt. And he just wants you to protect him. He's making food to give to the locals. He's trying to do something nice. It's his voice, his likeness. He approved it. They got him to do it. I'm assuming he helped write it or whatever. And that's the deal. Is you have to sit there with your guns and stuff while the federales come in, and he's got like a cooking area, and he's making food that he's then going to throw in a truck and take to the locals to feed them, to help them. And so you have to protect him while he's cooking. And the entire time he's talking to you, saying fun stuff. He's like, hold on a second, I got to flip the meat, and everything. And he's talking about what he's doing and how he's going to braise it and all this other stuff. You're like, oh, the spices. And it's Danny Trejo's talking. It's hilarious.
Well, it's funny because it's funny that's his character in that game, because not specifically feeding people, literally feeding people, but that's the type of dude he is. It's just like he is, like when he's not working on movies, even when he is working on movies, he's a man of the people, and he's always giving people helping hands and whatnot, and he's a pretty amazing dude.
It sounds like he went through some stuff, came out good on the other side of it, and now knows like, hey, look, I can help others.
Yeah.
It sounds like every interview I've ever seen, he seems like the nicest dude.
Yeah, it's you want to, like you said, you went through some stuff, and I was talking to somebody, and I was trying to find the best way to describe the first part of the first quarter of that book, where they were talking about his time in jail, and I was like, dude, because this guy, Trejo was in jail, and not like like I said, it's like Office Space jail.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If
not a nice jail.
No, not a nice jail.
You got to fight to survive jail.
Right. Yeah. So. Yeah. So.
Wow. Yeah, that's crazy. I had, like I said, I had seen the that interview a couple times on what was the program? I can't remember. But yeah, they referenced him that one time on Graham Norton. Nice. Seems nice.
Yeah. So what's your number one?
Well, you had something to do with this. Okay. But it just happened I think it was last week. I sent you a link, if you remember correct. You remember what it was. Homestar Runner.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You sent me a link about Homestar Runner?
I did. Remember the tiny Trogdor game, the little fake...
Oh, yeah, you did send me that, yeah.
Yeah. So there was, again, you're talking 96, 97, so it's been about 25 years. That's when you first, along with me not watching wrestling for a million years, then you go and like, oh, you haven't watched wrestling? Here's an ECW tape of a guy setting another guy on fire and throwing him into a pit of glass. And I'm like, I want to watch it. Not only that, but then you're like, look at this Homestar Runner thing. I think you're the one who showed me that.
Yeah.
And Homestar Runner, for those who don't know, is just this little website, 25 years, got to be maybe 30 at this point. Like when the birth of the internet, really. I mean, it's been a long time. They were doing that stuff on Super Nintendo. On Mario.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And then putting it up on the internet that way, I think, is originally how it started. But it's a little website. I think you can still go on. Yeah, it's homestarrunner.com.
That's true, man.
And it's just these two brothers, the brothers Chaps, invented this character called Homestar Runner. And it's this little cartoon that they did all on their own. They voiced it, they animated it, and you got me hooked on it. And And to this day, I still walk around quoting "beleted" from the deleted emails and Trogdor and all that stuff. And I think it was just 2 days ago I said, "I see you jocking me" to the dog. Because he'll turn around a corner and he'll kind of look at me and be like, "I see you jocking me over there." So yeah,
me.
It's just too good. Light Switch Rave. There's a million of them. Everything from, they put up, I don't know, I wouldn't say weekly. What was it, like every 2 weeks maybe? They'd put up kind of a new 5-minute animation. And there's just literally two dudes doing, as far as I knew, two dudes voicing it, animating it, putting it up on the website, doing it all on their own, doing music, all kinds of stuff on there. And then they also had one of the characters' name is Strong Bad. He's a luchador wrestler, so he's got a mask, but he has a computer where he answers emails from fans, real fans who would send these the brothers' emails to the characters, though. Hey, Strong Bad, what about this? And then they would have Strong Bad answer, but they would then animate the email. And there was, I don't know, they stopped doing them, but I think it ended up being almost 300 of those emails. And that's really where, I mean, the Halloween little, the Halloween cartoons every year are always super fun with all the costumes and the geek references. But those emails, to this day, that's where all the really, really good stuff comes from. Fahuwa Gods and Jockin Me and the Light Switch. There's a million of them in there. And every once it had been silent for how long? It was probably a good 4 years. You and I would check periodically and be like, nothing else, nothing new. And then I want to say it was like 3 years ago, I randomly checked it, and
there's new stuff.
And there was a new cartoon up.
Yeah.
And I immediately text you. I show Mrs. Fun. I'm like, this, you got to watch all. And we put a bunch of them on. And we just laughed our butts off. I got to show her, the Fahuwa God song and all that.
Yeah.
Coming out of Reiki.
Now they're all on YouTube.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of it, is not only now, it's probably once every 3 to 4 months they'll throw something up there, and they got puppets and stuff now they do, and they did a Halloween cartoon this last year again, so that was awesome.
I actually haven't seen that. I need to watch that. I haven't seen that.
Yeah, they don't do because on YouTube they're not clickable anymore. Remember at the end,
right.
they were Flash, if I remember correctly. They were done in Flash. Originally, they animated this stuff in Mario Paint on the Super Nintendo system. They came with a little mouse. And they animated it all on a Super Nintendo, and then would take those videos and record them, I think, on a VHS tape, and then put them on the internet. And then they obviously went to art school, or someone taught them it. They did it in Flash. And the cool part was everything was interactive. You and I would always try to find the buttons at the end with the little printer that would come up, and you'd have to try to find the little button, and then there'd be a little Easter egg. And the Halloween one is they'd put all the characters up in their geek reference costumes, and you could click on them, and each one would say something stupid. And it had all of their little names and like what their costumes was. Like one of them was the greatest American hero one year. It's great. So, but like you said, here's the beauty is they're all up on YouTube now.
Yeah.
So if you go to YouTube and you search Homestar Runner, I think it's one word, Homestar, Homestar space Runner, Runner, Homestar Runner. Childress is in here. Hey, look at these guys. They're all up there now, or if not all, most.
Yeah.
And so periodically I'll check it, and I'll check the site, and I'll see what they've posted. And I got a link that they had posted Strong Bad had an email where he talked about video games, I think, one time, and he made a fake console called the Videlectrix.
Yeah.
Videlectrix. It was like I think it was like their production company or something, but it was like everything was a Videlectrix, like the anime they made of Strong Bad and all that. They had a fake reproduction of a game that's Trogdor, which is another thing that comes from the emails about a goofy dragon. It's a little mini game that is in kind of that green Game Boy, original Game Boy color with the dark green on the light green background, and you could play it right in the browser on your phone. and it's just one level. It's super stupid. It's great, but you can like you burninate the buildings, and you have to avoid the townsfolk, and then you get to the end and you have to fight a bad guy, and it takes
Nice.
like a minute and a half, but it's super fun, and you just hit the button and you play it right in the browser on the iPhone or a Google phone, I imagine, a Chrome.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming you can play it on your computer with a mouse and keyboard or something, but I sent it to you. I sent it to Childress because the only two people I know of that would appreciate it. And I immediately played it, and it reminded me again, even though I probably saw something a month ago, just how awesome Homestar is.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And all the characters.
Yeah. The one that we keep going back to reference wise is Coach Z. And it's it's him trying to say the word job. Strong man pops in there. Okay, good. But next time, throw some more syllables in there. Yeah. Job. Yeah.
It is. Do they ever actually call it a Chicago accent, or it just we know it because we know it's a Chicago accent?
Yeah, right. I don't think they actually call it a Chicago accent.
Okay.
No. But yeah.
There's when I got on the kick of showing Mrs. Fun all of them, they happened to have one that was where they had a cartoon where they were being nostalgic. It was like an anniversary, like a 25-year anniversary, and it's him and what is her name? The cake topping.
Marzipan.
Yeah. Homestar Runner's girlfriend, Marzipan. I think it's him and her. They go in the garage. I didn't even know they had a garage. Turns out they have a garage. They go in the garage and they pull out an old Rubbermaid kind of tub, and they start digging through it. And it's all these old things. And one of them is like an old unused character from one of the like Olympic NES, the SNES original cartoons they did on the SNES that they had never brought back. And he's in the rubber tub. And so they open it and they pop out, and now it's the modern version of him in the new animation style. So he comes out, he's like, oh, hey, I'm back. It's like 25 years he's been stuck in the tub. But the other thing was, hey, we found this old cartoon. I don't think it's old. I think they redid it. Like it's a new one, but they made it look like it was old. But it's Homestar, and at some point he says, when he's talking about inappropriate. And Mrs. Fun now we're doing something. She's like, that was inappropriate.
Nice.
So yeah, to this day, even new ones are getting quoted around this house because of how awesome it is. I have my Homestar shirt upstairs, but I think I sent you a picture, but I wanted to show so people could actually see what Trogdor looks like. I kickstarted a game. I'm a big Kickstarter. When I have a couple extra bucks and something comes out on Kickstarter, it's basically you prepay. They tell you what they're gonna make, and as long as they hit a certain amount, then they'll actually make it. So you're like getting in early. Sometimes they'll never make it again. Well, they had the official Brothers Chaps from what's the name of the company? Board Electrics. It's called Trogdor the board game, and I had to get it. It was very inexpensive, but I jumped on it.
That is awesome, dude.
It's called Trogdor the board game. And it's the full, there's all the little miniatures, and I got the deluxe.
The countryside. Fantastic.
The deluxe Kickstarter version, so all the pieces are little wooden meeples, they're called. It's a company that makes like wooden versions of tokens. So there's the Trogdor.
That's awesome.
There's little tents, and you burninate the tents.
That's awesome.
There's the buildings over here that you burninate. Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous. And there's the original Trogdor drawing back in the day.
With the arm.
Yeah. And if you look at it, it says here, the cooperative game of Burnination, Majesty, and Consummate V's.
That's right. There you go.
There you go.
Yep.
But yeah, that's Trogdor. And yeah, but if you go to homestarrunner.com or if you go to YouTube, look up Homestar Runner, there's a bunch of stuff on there. It'll all make you crack up. So good. Population stop sign.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Yeah. So what, number 2?
Sure.
Yeah. since we're talking about, well, here's so we'll say in general, music is my number two.
That's a
just,
big general. Anything that's musical.
Yeah, it's music in general. Yeah,
Sure.
but so I used to be, and you could vouch for this. I used to be the guy, like you used to come to me and be like, dude, I heard this group, the White Stripes. And I'm like, yeah, me too, a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
Right, yeah. So I was very much that guy. So I was always at the record sale, like going in and listening to new stuff. And I still do that, but everything is not, we'll just say, is not appealing to me. Not everything, but most things are not appealing to me.
You mean like new stuff?
New stuff, correct. So I went back and bolstered my old stuff catalog, like the stuff, listen to stuff that of course I knew about, but I never really listened to. Okay, so I'll throw it. So for the first time this past week, I listened to Pretty Hate Machine by Nine Inch Nails, their first album.
Because you've never heard
because
it?
I've never, I've heard, like I've heard the singles.
Okay.
So like
Excuse me.
Above It and had like a whole, those are all, yeah.
Of course.
So those are on there, but I've never heard the entirety of the album. So I put that in, and I'm just like, I'm listening to it, and those are like there are two others too. I'm not thinking of the names, but it's like they're like the first 4 tracks in the album, and I'm just thinking, I'm like, dude, this is '89, and I can't do, like, thinking about like what people like. Here's this new group, Nine Inch Nails, and this is what's coming out of their speakers. I'm like, why? They had to be like the mind blowing for a lot of people. But so I've been doing a lot of that. But what is newer and is actually my number 2 is this hip hop group Czarface, who I've mentioned.
CZAR Czarface.
CZAR Czarface.
Yeah, I want to say Super 7 makes those little like GI Joe, figures you've seen.
In action figures.
They think they make a Czarface one.
They do, and I missed a boat on it. I'm kicking myself.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, but they like their first album, I think, was 2016, and they're still doing it. It's 7L and Esoteric and Inspect the Deck from Wu-Tang.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and dude, so many comic book references and wrestling samples, like old, like NW. Yeah, dude,
Nice.
I know. I've told you about this, and you're acting like
no, not Czarface. Doom.
Well,
that's Doom. I know has tons of geeky references and stuff in it. I didn't know about wrestling stuff, but I didn't know Czarface was doing it too.
Dude, yeah. So they got at this point, and MF Doom passed away.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the last 2 things he did was collaborations, 2 albums with Czarface.
Oh, really?
And so and so I think they got either like 5 or 6 albums out now. But like their first album, like I put it in, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's like they called me and they're like, John, we're gonna make an album that's just for you. What needs to be in it? And yeah, there's GI Joe references, samples and references, and it's so good, dude. It's
We got Inspect the Deck there, so I'm assuming the beats are amazing.
Dude, it's and the beats are ridiculous. He's an MC on the album, so he's not right. You think it's funny because I think people have that misconception that he was, and maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think.
I'm speaking from a place of ignorance. I thought
his name would lend it to believe,
because the decks,
right,
the turntables.
Right.
Who was their turntable guy?
In
Wu-Tang.
That's a good question.
I think that's. I thought that was him because he's Inspect the Deck.
Because
he may have MC'd too, but I thought he did.
Yeah.
Or did they just do beats?
Yeah, I do. I'm not 100% on that.
I'm ignorant.
because I know RZA did a lot of production.
Makes sense because he's now doing soundtracks for movies. If Eric's still in here, he could probably tell us. RZA did like 3 or 4 movie soundtracks. I think it wasn't I think he was nominated for an Oscar.
Like he did Ghost Dog. I know that for sure.
Yeah, I can't remember what movie it was though. But RZA did. Yeah. I think he might have even been nominated. Anyway, but yeah, I'm sorry. So so Czarface. What is it? Does the character have like a black and white paint like on his face? Is that Czarface?
No, it's a metal mask type of deal, similar to Doom. But like every comic book, every album has a comic book cover. The cover art's a comic book.
Oh,
cover.
Okay.
So like album 1 is issue 1, album 2 is issue 2, that type of deal. And and then the song names. Oh man, let me actually see if I can pull because some of the song names are really great as well. Hang on. Let's see.
Kill Bill. RZA did Kill Bill.
Kill Bill.
Was he nominated, Childress? He'll tell us. He'll know.
Okay.
But anyway.
So the album names they use Czar in the album name. So it's like like the Czar Wars, of course.
Of course.
Right. Yeah. Zardicus.
Nice.
Just fantastic. They escape from Zarkum Asylum. Yeah. So and every album has like 3 or 4 of those. I'm like, amazing, fantastic. So literally everybody that I've said, dude, you got to check this out. They've come back to me and been like, where's this been my whole life?
Well, I'll have to listen to some. I've been on a kick. I can't remember if I said it on here, but we finally buckled down and got Apple Music. I wasn't going to, but
why
I did.
Apple Music?
Because we were already doing Apple TV. Because I cut the cord in the house. We don't have any cable anymore, so we're looking for other digital things to add piecemeal. So we already had Apple Plus TV Plus, and I think for like it's $10 for Apple Music, but if you get the package, you get like Apple Arcade for the games, you get the TV, you get the other thing for like $7 more.
Okay.
So for if I just got Apple Music by itself, it'd be $9 or whatever. But by packaging it all up, it became $17, and I got Arcade with it. And I was like,
right.
We have no music streaming, and the ones you get, they're all have tons of commercials, and again, Apple's not paying for this, but you get tons of commercials, or you have to pay the premium to do it, and then even then they throw music in there that's not on your playlist. And I'm like, that's not what I want. I want to just make my playlist and listen to what I want to listen to, and then maybe add stuff. Blade Trinity as well, Childress says.
Okay.
Was RZA. So I just recently did. So every time I remember something now, I'll hurry up, pull up the band, and then hurry up and throw all the songs I like plus a couple more into my playlist. I have one big giant playlist. Like I've said to Childress, it's completely like crazy. It'll be like a John Williams Superman score, then it'll be Atari Teenage Riot, then it'll be like the Streets of Rage Genesis 8-bit theme song, whatever. So you're throwing in Czarface will be fun. I have some MF Doom stuff in there, so I'll have to listen to some Czarface and throw some stuff in there.
Nice. Yeah, tell me what you think, because I love it. I can't I think I think the standard with most people when it comes to hip hop nowadays is Run the Jewels.
That's being not bad.
Top notch. Huh?
Not bad.
Yeah, no. It's right there. But and it was for me too. And then Czarface came out, and I was like, this is even better. It's just And so.
Well, pick one? I'll go to that song immediately, and then listen to the rest. If I have to listen to one? If everybody watching or listening, what's the one?
The one song
they got to listen to that one, like your favorite.
The one
Maybe
song,
two. Maybe two.
2 songs.
Sure.
Okay. Hang on there.
Remember, this is grungy, geeky, hip hop.
I would go with Air 'Em Out and Rock Beast on their first album, which is called Czarface.
Okay.
Yeah.
Air 'Em Out and Rock
Yeah.
Face.
But no, Rock Beast.
Rock Beast.
Rock Beast.
All right.
But seriously, that entire album,
Good.
like there's not a bad song. There's all 4-star jams. Yeah,
It's good. It's something new. I'll have to throw that on there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, another good segue. Just so happens, my number 2 is also music.
Okay.
So I can't remember if I sent you a link to this. I know I sent Childress one. But I'm fishing around on YouTube again because I cut the cord, this was like last fall. And I come across this guy randomly, and I think it's called something like 5 Minutes to Funk or something like that. His name is Marc Rebillet. M-A-R-C Rebillet. R-E-B-I-L-L-E-T. Marc Rebillet. You look him up on YouTube. He's got his own YouTube channel. It's basically this dude who decided he quit his job. Kind of like I was talking about Code Miko in one of them, but like this dude I think he was like a, suit and tie guy, and he's decided, look, I want to just do my thing. He does freestyle improv rap and sings. He is trained musician. He plays the piano.
Yeah.
But he has a sequencer like, it's not a beat machine, although it does have a couple of the square beat buttons in it, probably a 4x4 pad at the top. But at the bottom, he has 4 to 5 circle buttons. And what he'll do is he has some rhythm instruments like sand, not a maraca, but like maybe like a hand maraca, like Aerosmith would use, like like that. So it's like a hand maraca. He's got a couple little like little percussion things, and he keeps them by the thing. And he has a mini keyboard, right? And it's all hooked up to this sequencer. And so he sits in his kitchen or his house or his apartment or whatever, and he'll start with like a shaker or start with like a percussion thing, and he'll hit the button, and you'll see the kind of circle on the, you don't need to look at it, but I'm looking at it. So he'll hit the circle, and he'll start to record what appears to be a 30 or 60 second chunk of audio. So he'll do that. He'll hit it. The second he hits it, it starts playing. And so now he has his beat. And then he'll do like a shaker or like a little tambourine thing, and he'll add a little bit of percussion to that. And then he'll tap on the desk or he'll tap on the other thing and then hit another one. And then eventually he starts with the keyboard. And so he'll hit the 4th one. He'll start playing keyboard with it, either funk or R&B or whatever. He just picks a style. It's completely random. And, I'm assuming there's some planning involved, but mostly especially when he sings, it's just random stuff comes out of his mouth. And so he'll play the beat, and then he'll hit the button, but if he holds it, he can then do it over again. So he'll double, triple, quadruple sample on the same button because it's all piano.
Okay.
Or he'll have 2 buttons. One is an interlude of a piano, so he can like tap the one off, tap the other one immediately, and it'll like play slow real for a couple seconds, and then boom, and hit the button and drop the beat again, and then hit the percussions, and then he just has a mic, and he just starts belting out the craziest stuff you've ever heard. And the 5 Minutes to Funk or 4 Minutes to Funk or whatever it was is just him showing how to sort of make a beat improv. Yeah. And it's funk. It's like a parliament. It sounds like funkadelic parliament.
Awesome. Yeah,
but then he'll do songs. And so there's one that's a more traditional song, and I think it's like a love song, and so it's more R&B, and it's actually like a really good song. So that's in my playlist. But there's another. I can't even say that. I'm not going to say the title. But basically, it's about people in the other room having sex, and the beauty is he also does live shows. Okay. So you can tell, and I'll put a link to the like nice song, and then I'll also put a link to him doing this live. He goes to like a brewery, and it's all these adults, and he's doing his thing, and he's doing the sort of normal music, and then all of a sudden, he'll put the beat in there, and then he'll just get on the mic with like a vocalizer on it, and he'll be like, Gary, what are you doing in there, Gary? You know, and I'm doing nothing. Go away from the door. And then he like talks to himself, and then all of a sudden it'll be like, and then all of a sudden, you know, because he has this stuff kind of, he does it ahead of time, so he'll hit the buttons. All of a sudden he'll drop the beat, and he'll be like, "Cause they're effing in there." And all these people in the brewery eating their food, like, do this, and then just start cracking up. And then he'll get back in with like, I knew Gary was in there. I knew, but he hits the piano, and he's a classic pianist, or not, a trained pianist, I should say.
Sure.
And he'll just kick back into like, bow, 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 like funk, on top of, he sampled his voice, yelling crazy stuff on top of the beat, and he's turning them on and off while he's playing the keyboard and yelling at the crowd to jack them all up and tell them like, I went through your phone, I know you're in there, you know. And it's the most ridiculous stuff you've ever heard. But then he'll legitimately have one about like, there was one about like being too tired to go, I gotta get up and go to work.
Nice. Okay.
So there's no swearing, no weird stuff, but it's like, I'm tired, I don't want to go to work. And then he starts hitting the buttons, and he's shaking his head, his hair's flying around, and he's like, I gotta drink coffee, gotta get in the car. And he's just screaming like a lunatic. It's not only funny, but he is super talented. And if you go on his YouTube channel, he now goes on tour. Maybe not right now, but he would go on tour, and he would sell out like what's the place in the city? I saw Aragon Ballroom. You know, it's kind of like, it's not huge and it's not super tiny. It's sort of a little bit bigger than tiny.
Sure, yeah.
Like the Aragon Ballroom.
Yeah.
And he's in there, and it's like a rave. There's like 400 people shoved, like packed up against the stage. He's in his boxers with a robe on, and he's dancing and singing and doing this stuff live.
Mm-hmm.
And he'll pull someone from the crowd, and he'll be like, what are you doing? And then they'll start talking, and they'll sample their voice, and then he'll start playing the keyboard. It's one of the neatest things I've ever seen. And and not only is it amazing to watch, he's also super talented, and there's actually good music he's making on top of completely, like, he's out of his mind stuff mixed in there. It's crazy good.
Nice.
So yeah,
it's funny. It sounds familiar to me. It's like when you mentioned the fight, it sounds familiar. Like I've heard, right? But I never really dove into it. But I think I remember hearing about that in some way. Yeah.
He's great. They had him on. I saw an interview he did on Sway.
Yeah.
And Sway was like, "Really, you do this stuff like improv?" He's like, "Yeah." And he has I think he just has a little keyboard there or something. Like, if we give you a beat, would you do it now? He's like, "Sure." And so they gave him a beat, and I think he had a keyboard with him. And he finally gets it working, and I don't know if they give him a topic or anything, but he improvs a rap song or an R&B song right there on Sway's morning show.
Nice.
Totally new, brand new song. He just makes it up on the fly.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty great. So.
Yeah. All right,
3, go for it. But yeah, people find him. Marc Rebillet. Again, no one's paying me. Marc Rebillet. Rebillet, I think. And there'll be some links in the notes.
All right, so number 3 for me, I'm gonna go with a person, and that person being, his name is Conrad Thompson.
Okay.
Conrad Thompson is a podcaster.
Those guys.
Those guys. Yes. He's a podcaster, but he is also, and they don't need my plug for this. They don't, you know. He puts out wrestling podcasts, and I've been telling you about this for a little bit, but he is Ric Flair's son-in-law.
because Charlotte's not married, so
The show, no, it's his other. It's I don't I can't remember her name, but
Okay.
we'll call her not Charlotte.
understood.
So
Okay.
yes, so he's married to her other daughter, and um he started by interviewing Ric Flair and putting it out, putting out a podcast, and now he does these long, and it kind of built from there, where he started doing he does one, and he's got a whole catalog of them. So he does one with Bruce Pritchard, who is basically Vince's right hand man, Vince McMahon's right hand man.
More importantly, who was he?
Brother
Love.
Yes.
Brother Love.
Yes.
Yes.
But he was, and so they go into these deep dives, whether it be about a certain show, a certain pay-per-view, or a certain moment, or they'll go into deep dives on a certain wrestler, and they'll go through his entire career, and talk about, and Bruce Pritchard will jump in. Like, I'm of course, when I found out about these, the first show I found out about was called 83 Weeks, which was with him and Eric Bischoff, talking about
WWE Attitude Era Raw versus WCW Nitro.
Yeah,
when WCW actually put up a fight for the first time. Someone put up a fight and had ratings that were beating WWE on Monday night.
So he was in charge of WCW, and so they again, the format is still the same. They'll pick a wrestler or a pay-per-view and whatnot, and talk about everything that was going around that time. And and so then he's grown his empire. Like the dude, he's by trade he's a mortgage guy.
Okay, all right.
But yeah, like that's
good on him.
But then he's built this empire, like he did. Like, one of the funniest things that I've listened to is he does one with Tony Schiavone.
That's the one you want me to listen to. You said that on more than one occasion. The Tony Schiavone one in particular.
Yeah. So the
Tony Schiavone, for the people who don't know, is an announcer for WCW, not WWE. He's the guy that sits at the table and's like, "Oh, the wrestler, he did a clothesline." Tony Schiavone, and he would also do interviews, kind of like Mean Gene Okerlund from back in the day, who went over to WCW, but he was like the color commentator guy. From
the mid 80s to the end of Nitro, basically.
Yeah, and he just like stopped,
disappeared, and now he's one of the broadcasters for AEW.
Oh, that's right. Schiavone's over there now.
Yeah.
So if you want to see him now, AEW does have a Monday or Tuesday and Thursday?
They got a Wednesday and Friday.
Wednesday, Friday, and it's on TNT?
Don't
they have a TNT champion?
Dynamite is on TBS, and Rampage is on TNT.
Okay.
So both. Yes.
But yeah, he'll be on there. I'm sorry, I didn't interrupt.
No, that's okay.
I'm sure there's people who have no idea what we're talking about. So
right. So, but this podcast episode, and so basically they like the Bruce Pritchard one, and now he also has one with Jim Ross, and so they talk about it, but those are semi-serious, where they're breaking down different stories and talking about what was going on in the business, in the pro wrestling business. Where the Tony Schiavone one is they load up something on the WWE network and do like a Mystery Science 3000.
Really?
Yes. And so they've gone with that. They started doing that like serious format, and it just didn't work. And it just wasn't. It didn't feel. It seems like it didn't feel natural for them, and they just went into this MST3K approach. And the one you got to listen to is for the first time. They usually tackle shows he was a part of. Tony Schiavone was a part of, but they decided for the first time, because he's never seen an ECW show at all up until like a few years ago. Where I don't know what the episode number is, but he watches their first pay-per-view, and they're doing the MST3K kind of.
So let's put it into perspective. This dude is like an NFL color commentator for the WCW company, and it's although they did risky stuff, it was built to be on network television, so they could only be so risky.
Right.
ECW, on the other hand, and like I said before, you introduced me to it by saying I had to mail order away for this tape because
Correct.
they won't allow anybody to show this on television, so you have to order it. These
No,
are
actually,
guys having.
I'm gonna double back here because actually that's not true.
Well, they did it in like Philly or something, right? On cable access or public access or something.
It's funny because it was on like cable access in the Philadelphia ad. Yeah, like
I think you can get away with more there because it's like government free speech, so you're not like beholden to Channel 2 or Channel 7 in order to allow the standards and practices. Like, but they're having matches in this ECW where like they took all the ropes off the ring and replaced it with real, not stunt WWE, real barbed wire. So when they throw the guy into the rope, there is no rope there. It's real barbed wire.
Yeah.
And so this guy who's normally color commentates for stuff that's like on basic cable, you're telling me he hadn't seen him in 20 years. They sat him down and said, here, let's watch an ECW taping of like people being set on fire and all that stuff.
Right.
Yes, I have to listen to this.
Yeah. So he's never seen an ECW show before. And dude, him watching ECW for the first time is all of us watching ECW for the first time. His reaction, it's priceless. I was laughing my butt off. it was so hysterical. Yeah. And so that one in particular, but this dude's whole empire that he's built of these podcasts, if you have any interest at all, it's fascinating stuff. Like for right now, they're doing again. I hear about something and I want to go from episode 1, right? So this is a few years back, probably now. You're talking about 2017, 2018. This is actually first aired.
Okay.
But they're doing like a complete breakdown of the Big Boss Man's career.
That's cool.
Yeah, and it is. It's very cool. It's telling stories and whatnot, and it's really, really cool. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I can't. I was just listening to. It's funny that you say Big Boss Man. I was listening to a clip of Stone Cold talking about him.
Mm-hmm.
Big Boss Man. I can't remember what his real name is, but
Ray
Stone Cold.
Taylor.
There you go.
Yeah.
But he mentioned like how nice of a dude he was.
Yes.
But when you think about Big Boss Man, you think about this big, tough guy that would rip your head off. And I think Stone Cold was like, yeah, he's one of the nicest dudes. Like, yeah. That's great. Yeah. And so so do they go back and it's like multiple podcasts about the Big Boss Man, or it's like, let's focus on him and get that all in like a 2-hour thing. And then next week we'll do, Leaping Lanny Poffo or whatever.
Right. That's awesome.
Professor Poffo.
Right, but then like for the bigger stars, they'll do like Shawn Michaels 1995.
Well,
and then they'll have break it down over multiple years or multiple podcasts.
Is there a name like Ain't This the Fun or whatever? Is it called, or is it just called this dude's name with Ric Flair?
It's called it's really hard to find those original. I've never heard one of the original Ric Flair ones. They're kind of hard to find. But that, I think it was just a Ric Flair show. Okay. But Something to Wrestle is the Bruce Pritchard one. And then What Happened When is the Tony Schiavone one. The Jim Ross one is Grillin' with JR.
Grillin' with JR.
Yeah, nice. Yeah. And then 83 Weeks is the Bischoff one. But like again, like I said, I was trying to go from like the first episode of these, but like it was a couple weeks ago where he announced that he was doing one with I think it's DDP and Jake Roberts together.
Is that the Snake Pit?
It might be called that. Yeah, I don't know. I just remember they said it was coming out, and so he's continuing, and it keeps going and going and going.
And again, for those who don't remember, like the fact that why I just made that face and why you mentioned it, because it'd be interesting, is Jake Roberts, or Jake the Snake Roberts, is the guy that used to carry around the bag with the snake. And if anybody who's too young, this is a wrestler who used to come out with a giant snake and throw it in the ring, and everyone would run around scared or whatever. But he became pretty severe drug addict, and it was called what was it? Behind the Ring,
The Resurrection of Jake Snake Roberts.
But what was the Behind the Ring or
Dark Side of the Ring?
No, that's the new documentary show. The old documentary from like 20 years ago, 18 years ago. Something Ring.
Beyond the Mat.
Beyond the Mat. There's a very good documentary, and unfortunately in that documentary they show just how bad this guy from our childhood, he was a pretty severe drug addict. It was really sad, and they show this guy that we all loved, as Jake the Snake. Or if you remember Jake the Snake, if you've never seen Beyond the Mat, you got to watch it because it also shows you ECW stuff in there, if I remember right, because it's like New Jacks in there and stuff. It shows you how bad he got. And then another wrestler named DDP, Diamond Dallas Page, became a yoga guru, yoga strength guru. He made his own thing called DDP Yoga. But anyway, turns out Jake the Snake was his mentor and helped him through the business. And so he went and found him as a pretty severe drug addict and said, come, you need to live with me. I'm going to fix you. And that was the other what was it called? The Resurrection of Jake the Snake,
Jake
right?
Snake Roberts, yeah.
I've never seen that yet, but I've seen clips of the DDP stuff on YouTube of him helping him through all that.
Yeah.
All that stuff's interesting.
Yeah, I watched that documentary. It's really good.
Well, it shows you just what having a friend like that, this DDP guy's like an angel. He shows up and just pulls this guy out of, he's already high. And and just says, look, I won't let you die. Pulls him in his house. His wife's like, that's fine. Give him a room. Let's go. Let's fix him. To this day, he's still sober, I think, right? Jake's still doing good.
And he's a manager in AEW.
Stop.
He is.
He's like risking it. Is DDP there with him? Like making sure he's not like.
Actually, he pops up on the show.
That's risky. Getting kind of around the business again,
Yeah.
Wow.
Sure.
Good for him.
Yeah. Right.
So there's 3 different titles. The Shivani one is.
There's the Shivani one's What Happened When. Something to Wrestle with Bruce Pritchard.
83 weeks with.
83 weeks with Eric Bischoff and Grillin JR.
JR is the Tony Schiavone of WWE. He's the color commentator for all the 20 years of WWE.
Yeah.
So if you heard wrestling and you heard an announcer, oh my God, he's broken in half, that guy, that's Tony Schiavone on one company. JR is the guy in the other company. They basically did the same job, but at different companies. That's awesome. Jim Ross. What did I say?
You just named JR.
Yeah.
That's his name. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. I was used to calling him JR, Jim Ross.
Yeah.
Wow. That ECW one in particular and the Shivani one I'm interested in. I'll have to throw that on my podcast list.
Sure. Yeah.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
All right.
And I wonder if he's trying to get Joey Styles.
Oh my God.
That would be a good listen. Yeah.
I was trying to think, he's the one who does the jacked speech, right?
No.
Who was the one that did
this? Is the Joel Gertner.
That was Gertner that did that?
Yeah.
It was only when he talked about himself, when he's like, last night and he was smarmy, he was talking about himself. Who did he say was chiseled and jacked?
The Dudleys.
Dudleys.
Yeah.
I'll have to find that.
Buff, cut, ripped, chiseled
and jacked. Yeah. So good.
Yeah.
A good announcer will make anything better.
Yes. Number 3 for you, my friend.
Mine's not nearly as fun as that, but it is good. This is going to start out bad, but if there's anything that drives me crazy is bad customer service.
Okay.
So when you get good customer service, especially over the phone where you have no control, I love it. There's not. I am a I don't want to say I'm a Karen, but because I'm not, especially in public, I would never cause a fit. If no one's gonna help me, then I'll just leave. You're not gonna help me. All right, then I guess I'm screwed. I take it. There's a thing I say about not getting ice in my drink. I can't repeat, but it is what it is. I'm not gonna cause a scene. Worst case is I'll try to send an email or call corporate and be like, hey, look, here's something that happened, and I'm always polite on the phone. Usually. However, there are times, and I'm only going to give this one bad example so I can tell you a couple good examples, because we need to cherish good customer service and tip it and say thank you and fill out those dumb emails and text messages you get. How did you rate your experience? Those people live and die by those things. And when you forget to do them, it actually impacts them. But, you know, I'll give a quick example, 2 quick examples of the bad ones just to show you how much I love good ones. One is I had some minor issues with a tax thing that I caught when I was doing my taxes last year. And I'm like, oh, something either got misreported or didn't get reported or something. I got to make sure there's a thing. Talked to my tax person. I called him. I'm like, hey, I think we goofed. She's like, let me look at it. She looks at it. She's like, yeah. I said, okay, cool. Send it in. How much do I owe? She figured it out. She's like, yeah, you're going to owe a couple little fine and you're missing a little tiny bit of money. But just make sure you send it in. You don't want them coming back 10 years later and having to be $1 million. Okay, fine. So I preventatively sent a check with an amended form and all this paperwork. I sent it to the IRS, and it is still not fixed. It is now a year later. And you get these horrible things from them, which is, this is not a bill. Now, that is like 9-point font when it says this is not a bill. However, in this bold area over to the left, it says,
going to jail.
You must pay by this date, or there will be repercussions, blah, 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 blah. I don't have it with me, but that's the gist of it. One is bolded over here. The other is 9-point font over here, and it says, this is not a bill. And every time, I'm like, they're like, oh, there was a clerical error, this and that, you still owe, whatever it was, $50 or whatever. I'm like, oh, whatever. So I'm not even argue about it. Here's $50 more. Just leave me alone. I'm done, right? So I send him the check. Sure enough, I get another bill. We're still looking it over, and it comes to our attention that there's $100. I'm like, this is now the 3rd check you're asking me for. I've had so I politely call. Here's the deal. And I said, so what exactly do you want? Like, I want to make sure if I send this next money into you that I don't just keep getting bills. Sir, it's not a bill. I said, ma'am, okay. So what do you mean it's not a bill? She said, it says right there. And I said, where? And then she points it out. I didn't even see it. I said, okay, it does say not a bill. Okay. I said, so I just don't pay this? She's like, no, it'll get figured out later. And I go, but the longer I wait to pay, the more expensive it becomes. She's like, yeah, well, we have to figure out the right amount. I go, but it's accruing interest while you're figuring it out. Yeah, okay. She's like, well, sir, I'm not telling you got to pay. And I said, well, it says right here, if I don't pay by this date, there'll be consequences. She's like, right, but it's not a bill. So she gets into sort of the semantic thing. And I go, okay, ma'am, I'm not going to argue with you about this or this, but it may say it's not a bill, but it says over here, if I don't pay, I'm going to be in trouble. So if it's a due date, it sounds like a bill to me, and I don't want to be in trouble. I'm just trying to do what I'm right, and I'm remaining calm. She goes, I don't know what you want from me, sir. To keep me from turning into a Karen or blowing up and screaming, I just went, I think I'm done. And I hung up. No, I'm not paying that. This new 4th magic bill that no one will explain to me.
It's not a bill.
Yeah, it's not a bill. It says it all the way over here in the corner, but don't mind all the bold stuff. She even said, she goes, I've wrote my boss letters about that because you're not the only person who's brought that up. I said, then clearly that's a problem. She's like, well, that is bad customer service. I'm only trying to pay my bills. I'm trying to throw money at you. And then you literally yell at me and go, I don't know what you want from me. Well, I called you for help so I don't get in trouble by the federal government. I'm just looking for some. So I'm taking her advice. I'm not paying the bill. So if you see me at a federal prison next year, it's for $50 that didn't get paid. So we'll find out if her don't pay the non-bill thing was correct. I guess we'll find out. And then there was one more recently. And again, I try my best. On the phone, there are times I get a little feisty. But I say, ma'am or sir, I know it's not your fault. It's a policy, but this, that, and the other. I'm asking for help. Please help me. It doesn't work. And there are times I get a little agitated. So hopefully more so than not, I just hang up because I know I then will be turned into an idiot. So it's not that person's fault. I try to tell them, look, I'm not upset with you. I just need your help. Oh, there was a medical bill. The local major giant medical thing. I called and I said, here's the reference number. 5 different departments didn't know, and I got hung up on 6 times. Oh, hold on a second. I'll transfer you. Click.
Good stuff.
I'm like, so after an hour and a half of dealing with this, clearly I'm a tea kettle. And I'm like, I just need some help. Sir, you don't know anything. Well, of course, next week I get another bill. You're now delinquent. I'm like, I called the number. Please, someone help me. I'm trying to hand you money. Please, I don't want to get angry. And finally, after 3 months, it got fixed. Someone was able to find the reference number in the computer and let me pay them my money.
It's like cue the Ren and Stimpy clip with him hitting himself in the head with the pan.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I don't have when I do get feisty, I can get a temper. So I've learned to either shut my mouth and hang up before I turn into a fool, or I make sure I say, look, I know it's not your fault. I try to apologize to them because it isn't their fault. They just work there. It's not their fault that the bills are stupid or the computer system doesn't work, or there's 18 different departments that deal with billing, even though billing is one department. Turns out there's 18 different billing departments, and one computer doesn't talk to the rest. It's not that person's fault when you talk to them on the phone. So I try my best. I'm not always great at it, but more often than not, I'll just hang up so I don't take it, I don't just lose my mind. However, when there's good customer service, local, at the store, on the phone, whatever, delivery people, I mentioned that in one of these, but more specifically, like you're asking someone for help, and when they do it, even in my job, I think I took pride in, and I think we all do, people we know, you take pride in, if someone asks you for help, you want to help that person. And when the system doesn't allow you to do that, I think you, me, we all try to be like, well, then let me see if there's something else I can do, or let me see. And when another person, when you call for that help, does that, it's fantastic. You feel so good, and it's literally the purpose of that transaction. And I'll give you an example. My video game system crapped out, and something happened to it, but the power supply basically broke. Sent it in to get fixed. They even rushed it back to me. They were super awesome. Microsoft was great, but turns out because the power supply went bad, the disc was still stuck in it. It was a brand new game. It was like $60. I hadn't bought a physical game in probably 10 months. And it was a brand new game. It was inside. And you know how on a disk drive on a computer, you take the little pin and you push it in and it'll pop the drawer out?
Yeah.
There's a release like that even on the old Xboxes and stuff. Well, it turns out they moved it. It's not on the front where the disk drive would normally be. It's on the bottom under the stand. Why I didn't look there originally, I have no clue. But regardless, I didn't know you could pop the disc out on your own. And, of course, the gentleman, when I asked for the repair, he didn't think hey, is there a disc stuck in it? Let me make a note of it. And I forgot that there was one in there. Well, when I get it back, it's not there. And I was like, that's $60 I just spent. So I called, and the gentleman was like, oh, whatever. But I just called today, and I was like, look, sir, here's the situation. And he's like, hold on a second. Well, the first guy hung up on me on accident. It wasn't his fault. But when the second guy answered the phone, could not have been nicer. Knew exactly, what I was calling for. Hey, sir, here's your account. Here's the deal. Okay, what day was it? This and that. Tried to figure it out. Couldn't find the disc. You sure it hasn't been mailed to you? No. Well, we have no tracking numbers. Doesn't look like we're sending anything to you. Went above and beyond. Really was like customer service supreme. And, we get to the end, and I'm like, I'm not asking for free money, but I am out a $60 game. Is there something we can do? Like, can you talk to someone there? Can I wait? Maybe they can find it on someone's workbench or something. And he's like, hold on a second. And he comes back and he's like, and I talked to my boss, and the 18 years you've been an Xbox Live person, you've never asked for anything. And we could tell by the achievements on the Xbox that you did play it right before you sent it in. So we'll we'll just give you a license to a digital copy. We're not going to, pay to send something to you, but I'll hit your account up. So next time you log in, it'll track it and it'll just give you the digital copy for free. Now, nice. I got something for free, but it really wasn't for free. They replaced something that through no fault of my own and no fault of the person's. But the fact that he's, hey, sir, give me a second. It wasn't just one in and out. It wasn't a, what do you want from me, sir?
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't any of that. He was just like, I get it. Yeah. Let's figure this out. Customer service, especially nowadays, I can't imagine, even in my job, I can't imagine working in retail or at a sandwich shop or whatever, receptionist. Yeah. And, you see all these videos of these people showing up and swearing at people and spitting and throwing stuff and being belligerent. The job can be thankless. And to have someone really do it well, know that I'm out something and I'm going to help you. And then not only that, but, hopefully he saw that I was very thankful and respectful, that he wanted to do it for me. And he's like, hey, there's going to be a survey coming in. It just made me think, like, the positive that he put out, whether you want to call it karma or, you get what you give or, whatever. It's...
Call it karma. Call it fate.
But the guy
right, Childress?
The guy was awesome. And it's not the only thing recently where someone's been super awesome on the phone, which especially now, if you're not the type of person who wants to go to the store and be around a bunch of people and go, you want to be in your house, you're stuck. Being on the phone is so helpless. You can't talk to someone and say, you don't want to pull a Karen. I want to see the manager. But, like, on the phone, you're even more pulled away from it. You have nothing. The second that phone hangs up on you, that's it. You're done. Like, you have no recourse. And so for someone to know that you're at that other end and be like, hey, just give me a second. Let me try to figure this out for you. So that's why I always think, like, you get your oil changed. Hey, we're going to send you that thing on your email, or we're going to send you a text. Can you just make sure you fill out the thing that shows your customer, whatever, the rating, whatever you want to call it. Like, do it. Spend 5 seconds and show that person the appreciation, because they literally live and die by that. Salary, bonuses, whether you get fired or not, whether they shut that department down, whether they outsource it. Like, there's a whole bunch of reasons. If you don't spend that extra 5 seconds to fill that out, when you get good customer service, let someone know, because all they're seeing is the Karen stuff now. All they're getting is the grief and the spit and the anger and the vitriol and all that stuff. If you take 2 seconds when you had good customer service at Target, or like this dude on the phone, I'm definitely going to look for my email tomorrow and do that little questionnaire. But, you're at Target and someone helps you out and someone gets this or looks in the back for you because you know that you're irritating the hell out of them. Are you sure you don't have one in the back? And they go and find it and they're really cool to you. All it takes is 2 seconds to go up front. And in this case, to see a manager, to go, hey, I was in back and, whatever, Susan or Bob, they were super nice. I just wanted to let you know. They get none of that anymore. Right. If they even got it before anyway. Now they're getting the horrible stuff. And they probably still aren't getting the good stuff. So if it takes 2 seconds to pay that guy that came up to your door with your pizza, give him I know we're all hurting, but, even $2 more than you would have yesterday is 2 or 3 more gallons, so he can make more deliveries, or he can get food on his way home, or whatever. Pay for his Peacock subscription that month so he can watch some wrestling. That extra $2 or $3, or that extra 3 seconds to go walk up to the manager and instead of yelling and screaming and throwing stuff, actually be super cool and give that good customer service back as a customer, I think would do wonders. Because again, this, just like I said, I think it was earlier today, if not, it was yesterday. That dude on the phone was so awesome. Credit to Microsoft, I guess, and this guy that I mean, I don't know how are you when you talk on the phone? Like if people are frustrating you on the phone, can you hold it together? I get to the edge and I start getting a little crabby, and that's when I know to stop and just hang up.
Yeah, I mean, I hold it together all right. I mean, I think I hold it together okay. I don't have many experience like I don't have many experiences like that. I mean, I don't do a ton of uh phone, yeah, like phone customer service, I guess you could say. I mean, I definitely like if I'm in a store and someone goes above and beyond, I'm that guy as well to make sure I'll go and say, hey, you know, I'll ask for the manager, and they always think I'm going to say something negative, and then I hit them with something positive, and they're pleasantly surprised. But yeah, um, yeah. I mean, the only real, I mean, I guess Comcast, when I need to call them, but it's like you said, you cut the cord. We did too. That's not. I call them half as much as
Well,
I did.
yeah.
Right. Yeah. So, yeah.
I was bringing in the garbage cans the other day, and just so happens the mail guy was driving by, and I hadn't seen him, because of the weather. But he happened, not toot my own horn, but this is something I was taught as a kid. It's few people that service the house regularly, something that may need to be done. One of them is the mailman. We always throw a little something in there, even if it's 10 or 15 at Christmas time, just something, whether you want to get a couple days worth of breakfast sandwiches or,
Sure.
Dunkin' Donuts or whatever. You throw a gift card, or, back in the day it was cash, but, like you throw a gift card in there. And that was it. I just threw it in with the mail. This dude remembered the house. And so, even though I appreciated his customer service, by being cool and always being on time, and my neighbor always kind of parks sort of in front of our mailbox, but I think they know it's not me, so they drive around and they get out and they take the extra step and stuff. I'm dragging the garbage cans in, and he goes like, "Hey man," I said, "Hey, thanks," and I said, "I'll get it later," and he's like, "Oh, no problem." He's like, "Hey man, thanks for the such and such." I'm not trying to humble brag, but because it was like $10, but like the fact that he also then remembered the house and then took the time to stop and say thank you.
Nice.
Is again on top of him being awesome and going the extra mile to deliver the mail anyway. But like the fact that he remembered. He didn't have to say thank. He driven off and never said anything to me, but he called me out and was like, "Hey man, I wanted to say something."
Nice.
You can't. That's the intangible that people don't have anymore. It appears nowadays. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
All it takes is 3 seconds to try to be nice to someone. If they were nice to you or a manager,
Absolutely.
especially at work now, it works wonders.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
All right, you looking forward to anything?
I'm looking forward to the Super Bowl.
Really?
Yeah. What do you mean? What do you mean, really?
The two teams, because of the two young guys.
I like the stories. Matt Stafford. He's been drowning over in Detroit for drowning in horrible football for years and years and years, and now he's in it. And I like the Joe Burrow story. And for the first time in a while, there isn't a team that I hate, and there's always one guy, not hate maybe, but like there's always one team where like I don't want that guy to win.
Sure.
Yeah, and that doesn't exist. I don't think anyway.
Are you one of the guys that like if the quarterback's really awesome, you're like, I hate that guy?
Yeah, no. Well,
there's a word for that, like it intentionally, like negative, like you got to knock them off their high horse, like Tom Brady or a Brett Favre or a Tony Romo or whatever. They pick a million of them. You get that. I hate that guy.
It's hard for me to do that because my team's got the greatest quarterback of all time, Aaron Rodgers. So
you're gonna get killed for that.
I know. Yeah. And it's funny. I am a Packer fan, but it's funny. Like after all the stuff happened with him and the COVID and everything, it was literally like 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 a week before that happened, my mom was like, what do you want for Christmas? And I didn't have like a legit Packer jersey.
Mm.
And I was like,
Why do I remember you having one?
well, here's the thing. I went through that phase where I found one of the sites that does the
Off
knockoff, right?
printing.
They come from overseas,
Yeah.
and you think that football jerseys are the easiest ones to do because they have no logos on them. It's just numbers and colors, but the colors were always off, and it was like it looked like an Eagles jersey but with yellow. I'm like, what the hell? So I didn't have a legit, Packer jersey, and so like seriously, like the week before, I was like, yeah, I'll give you. I'd like an Aaron Rodgers jersey, and then that happened, and I'm like, and I asked my mom, like, you bought the jersey already, right? And she's like, yeah. Like, and it was like cue the Curb Your Enthusiasm music, yeah, or the Charlie Brown, like the Christmas music. I just that they used in Arrested Development.
Yeah,
he's walking around all sad, yeah, and it's funny because like you said, I'm gonna get slammed for that, but it's it was the whole Aaron Rodgers thing was put into great perspective. A great analogy was a coworker of mine said, he's like, it's like your brother cheats on his wife, and you go to your brother and you're like, dude, I love you, but you're making it real hard, man. You're making it real hard. Yeah. So I was like, I was like, that's perfect, because that's exactly what I'm like, dude, I still like watching you play, man, but come on, bro. Really?
all the big guys got knocked out this year, right?
Yeah, first, yeah.
Yeah, mostly towards the end, or was Brady in the first round of the playoffs?
Second.
Second.
Right? Second, I think.
Who was the big guy in the first round? Didn't one of the bigger guys get knocked out in the first round? Bigger QBs?
Yeah, Roethlisberger?
Oh, that's right, because it was his last, right? He retired. Yeah. He's retiring too?
Yep.
And then Brady just retired, and then... Isn't one more? Didn't one more say they were going to retire?
Nah, I don't think so. I think that's the two. I mean, I might be wrong, but I think that's definitely the two.
It's a big passing of the guard now. Like, this is...
Right.
It's all going to be the younger guys.
Yeah. But it was like that week after the wild card week, right away, both number one seeds gone. Packers and the Titans, goodbye. So no, to answer your question, I'm not automatically that guy. That's he's great. So I gotta
knock him down a peg.
Yeah,
oh,
I used to do that with Gretzky.
Yeah, well, it's also different because you're a huge Yager guy, though.
Yeah, and a Lemieux guy, and
Lemieux, yeah.
Yeah, Penguin fan.
Yeah.
And and so I was and so that was the big rivalry, But even like now, like Crosby and Ovechkin.
Yeah, all I keep seeing is the Ovechkin stuff. He's gonna pass. Didn't they say he might pass Gretzky?
He might. Yeah, he might pass Gretzky's goal mark.
And doesn't Gretzky have like 8 of like he owns like all the like he has like 8 of the records? Yep. And this Ovechkin's only going to break the one, right? Which is all-time goals.
Yeah.
So Gretzky will still have like 7 of them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who's the only guy who's ever come close? Was it?
Oh no.
Lemieux? Maybe not scoring, but other stuff. Like there's been a couple people who've gotten close but never quite did it, right?
So, dude,
is this a horrible Yager Lemieux thing?
No, it's not. Oh. I'm hoping. So I'm in my basement. Okay. I don't know if you heard any of that. Like I have a water filter, like a whole house filter.
Okay.
In my basement.
I have one as well.
And at 12:39 at night, every night, not every night, but every few nights,
sure,
it'll replenish. And it makes a tremendous amount of noise.
Well,
and so I'm in my basement, and so it just went off, but it quieted down. So I was like, dude, are we gonna have in the middle, like we're almost done here, and it's just gonna be like, wow.
If it's any consolation, I didn't hear it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So
Now we know all about it, though.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah. So, but he's gonna have no, like you have your points record. That's gonna be Gretzky's forever, probably. And assists is probably gonna be his forever as well. But yeah, so Ovechkin's gonna he may very well break Gretzky's goal record. I hope he does. I hope he because you know, forget Gretzky. Because we're keeping it clean here, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, for the most part. No. Basic cable clean. You can still.
Right.
Yeah. For the most part.
No. But yeah, I used to be that guy for Gretzky, for sure.
Just because.
And I'm always that guy for the Sox. So, yeah.
I've yet to wear a jersey or a hat yet while doing this, so it's coming.
There you go.
Yeah. It'll probably be chill just for you. It'll be wearing some stupid Cubs thing. I'll have to put up with it.
Right, yeah.
What I'll do is I'll just put like a bar over it when I edit it. I'll just put a big bar over that and your hat.
I'll paint my face. Or I still want to get the Cubs lucha mask. So they have lucha masks for teams where you can get them, and it's just a big logo. Yeah.
Does it have like a cool Rey Mysterio thing with like a lightning bolts or something coming off of it?
I don't think so.
No.
I think it's just straight up, white with the Cubs logo on the face. Okay. Yeah. So.
Whatever.
So
I'm looking. I sort of mentioned it last week, but I was mentioning it in the midst of talking about looking forward to the Royal Rumble. But now I think technically it came out tonight. I'm looking forward to Jackass 4.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't care. I talked a little bit about it last week, but the farts are funny. People getting kicked in the nuts are funny.
Yeah.
Again, I would love to. I like nothing better than to watch a Mammoth movie, or to watch The Godfather, or to read a nice book about history or a philosophy or something. But I don't even care if it's fake fart noises. They make me laugh. People getting smashed into trees or thrown off of things or getting kicked in the nuts or drive a golf course or a golf cart off a golf course thing and flip it and smash it up. It's funny. I don't care if people think I'm a whatever, Neanderthal.
Sure.
It is funny. And I'm glad they're not showing too much.
Yeah.
They're showing a little bit of clips, but it looks like what they do is they'll have them like sitting in chairs and sort of mention it, and they'll give you like 2 seconds of someone getting hit in the nuts. But you don't know the context of it or the build up or, Machine Gun Kelly getting hit with that hand by the pool, but there's going to be more than just him, and they're going to do something else with it, and, they're going to make it 12 times as horrible and getting, smacked with the big giant hand or whatever. And I can't wait.
Yeah.
I can't wait. I don't want to go to a theater right now, though. So I'll probably wait. It'll probably pop up on Paramount Plus in a couple of weeks, and I'll watch it then. But, yeah. What
I'm enjoying about that, like I see Johnny Knoxville, and I see his full head of grayish white hair, and I love just in general when people embrace their age instead of trying to dye their hair, and right. And like it's just when I see that, I take note of that. I'm like, Knoxville, there it is. Or the one that I love is I can't think of his. I think his first name's Tom. I can't remember his last name. The lead singer of Slayer.
Ooh,
so even though they stopped, they've stopped touring and whatnot. But he just same hair, same long hair. It's just gray. And he's got a giant gray beard. He looks more terrifying as a senior than he ever did as like a 20-something. Like I'm like, yeah. So I embrace your age. That's all. If you want to go the other way too, that's fine. I'm
getting the gray. It's good. Look at this. Hold on. Look at that.
One of my favorite questions I ever got asked was I was at a family party. My brother would ask me if I dyed my hair, and I'm like, this? Did you ask me if I dyed this?
That's great.
No. But mine are starting to come in a little bit too. So
Yeah, you don't have the facial hair because, as I said, you should just get it all and then do the goat, and then there you go.
Dude, I'm telling you, I went for it, and it's just too much up. It's too much upkeep.
The facial hair or the cutting?
The cutting.
Oh,
it's like Austin must shave his like 4 times a day.
Yeah, it really depends. It's like the people like we know somebody you might remember him. I think you met him a few times, Dan, and then a coworker also. They lost their hair when they were fairly young or still in their middle age, but younger. And it's just, I think now to the point where it's just gone. And so I guess in a way you call it lucky, because not only, okay, fine, it's gone. Maybe you think it's a bad thing, I guess, but at least you don't have to do the upkeep.
Right. And the thing I didn't like, it like the next day, it feels like fine grit sandpaper, and it's awful.
Sure.
It's absolutely awful. Yeah. And so I'm not willing to do the upkeep, and I don't want my head feeling like sandpaper. So, yeah.
Well, the good thing is if you have an itch, you can just kind of do that.
That's right. Right. But yeah, we're trying to keep things positive. But when I do this, it's awful.
As long as you don't hear like a when you do it, then you're good.
Right. So, yeah. Well, man, this has been fun, man.
Good. I'm glad. Thank you.
Yeah. Sure.
I know. If there's anybody that needed to be other than Childress who had done it before, so I knew that he kind of was used to it.
Yeah.
The very first person I wanted next was going to be you, because we were supposed to do this 20 years ago.
20 years ago. We could have been podcast millionaires.
That's right.
Yeah.
We'd be on major podcast networks, right?
Right. Exactly.
We'd be making tens of dollars.
That's right.
We'd be swimming in coins.
Yeah. We'd be sitting at Comic-Con booths with nobody around us.
Who are those idiots? Well, you don't want to come say hi?
Me, you, and Virgil.
That's right.
Hanging out together. Yeah.
Well, hey, it's happened before. You, me, and Virgil just hanging out.
Right.
Awesome.
So, all right, man.
Thank you.
Thank you for waiting up for me.
No worries. No worries. It is what it is. If there's anybody who knows what it's like being up at this time of night, it's me. So, we'll do this again. I'm gonna try to do this now weekly, and it'll be Childress every other week, unless something happens with his schedule, and then we'll start rotate people in and out, and do this more often.
Yeah. So I will. Yeah, man. I'll definitely be on again, and I'll talk to you soon.
Yes. Later.